host. This is the Cowboys Nation podcast with instant reactions and analysis to breaking news and events in Cowboys Nation.
The saga of the summertime is over. Micah Parsons has officially been traded from the Dallas Cowboys to the Green Bay Packers in return for one player. And that player is Kenny Clark, defensive tackle from the Packers, and 2 first-round picks. The Packers then agreed to a 4-year, $188 million contract, $136 million of that guaranteed, to continue their services with Micah Parsons as one of the biggest and brightest names in all of the National Football League, no longer employed by the Cowboys. This is...
Can I get your telephone? Where's your telephone? Hello?
Yo, Mike, it's DQ.
Yo.
All right, so tell me about on the Bison. What can you do with your lineman?
Widen out.
Yeah, that way you can edge set and turn the ball back into all the big guys. Hey, that's the ones we learned from, and you got some of the ones in. And the ones I'd say on the mobile, like, be super aggressive. That's your call to go dog somebody.
All right, can I get one more?
Nope, that's it for tonight.
I'm just getting, like, warmed up, adjusted.
Me too. So, that's it. All right.
So that's it. And I'm just here for the Arch Manning. You know what I mean? I'm just here for the Arch. I'm just here. If you wonder why I got Longhorn stuff on, I'm buying the Arch Manning hype. It's your boy B Jizzle. It's my girl KELZ with the Intels and my guy Bob,
too much.
the Cannabis Cowboy. Yeah, KELZ said she got some tea here, y'all. She gonna really spill the tea on what happened with Micah Parsons. But let's just hear it from the horse's mouth himself before we kick off the show. Y'all come on and tap in on Facebook and on YouTube. Let's go.
Micah to get us successful in the playoffs. This was a move to be better on defense, stopping the run. This was a move to, if we get behind, not be run on. And it was a deliberate move, a well thought out move to make this happen. The other thing that I would say is that we have a chance to get a minimum of 3, and it could very easily be as many as 5. Really top players. And you got to look at 3 to 5 to 1 over who's going to help you win the most. And it was strictly that, because it's not only the draft picks that you have as currency, but is the available cap room. And we can take that available cap room that we were going to use with Micah, and we can pay 3 to 5 players with that.
Ooh, is Jerry out here trying to backpedal on this? Talk to me, KELZ. We got KELZ with her reactions coming in. Hot girl. Ooh, how you feeling about this Micah trade? Because I know it's a favorite topic of yours. Your boo has been sent out the building.
Let me tell you right now, don't put no words on no because that's not my favorite subject.
Oh, I know. Just play along here. But how are you feeling about this Micah Parsons trade? And what kind of tea do you got for us from inside the store?
On to week 1. That's first. 2, the cancer is out the building.
Woo! Damn, not the cancer. You couldn't find a cure for cancer out the building.
And that's why I said, if people, I don't know how many shows I have said it on, but I have said it numerous times before. I talked to some people when everything happened, and the only thing that they told me was they're happy that it's over and done with, and it has nothing to do with the trade. It was a lot of trust issues between the front office and Micah Parsons.
So what about the agent? Because a lot of folks are coming and saying it's the agent being greedy. That's why he did a deal with Green Bay and not Jerry, who he told to stick it up his you-know-what. I mean, was it with Jerry in the front office, or was it with the front office and David Mulugaleta?
A lot of it is with the front office, and Micah Parsons. Because to me, they gave too much grace. I'm a 3 strikes, you're out type of person. If you have the owner and the executive VP to have a meeting with you, then you had the vice president of player personnel, who is Will McClay, to have a meeting with you. And you're sitting in meetings with the AirPod piece in your ear, not listening, tuning out. And not only you had one, you had 2, but you had 3 meetings. And the last meeting was with Shotty. You had 3 meetings with Shotty, and the last one was after that spectacle you put on last Friday.
Well, apparently, according to Jane Slater, that deal that him and Micah did on napkin or handshake or whatever, according to Jane Slater, they said when he came back to try to fix things after the trade was going to be leaked, the Cowboys' response was, Bob, play on the 5th year or leave. Tap in with us, Bob, and let us know, right off the top, how you feeling about this whole deal.
I got to say right away, man, I was extremely pissed. I was extremely pissed for a multitude of reasons. Most of them had to do with me getting pissed off because I kept having Jerry's back, saying to everybody who was accusing this of possibly happening, there's no way we're going to do this with Green Bay. They're going to give us a 23rd and a 24th in the first round. It's not really the greatest in the world. And I don't know what else they're going to give us. It didn't seem realistic. So I told everybody it wasn't going to happen because historically these things don't happen. I do not remember the last time Jerry willfully traded off one of the biggest stars in the NFL outside of Herschel Walker, who was at the time, that was questionable anyway. But so after I got through all that shit, because as a Dallas Cowboy fan of 52 years, I've got years and years of anger and happiness all kind of mixed up in me. But once I let everything kind of go away and started thinking about all the things that I've heard and how people talked about how he was, even during the seasons, he wasn't focused. And even I, on multiple occasions, have said it is easy to take Micah Parsons out of the game by simply beating him on at least 3 of his pass rushes. If he fails, he'll mentally take himself out of a game. And he does that shit at the worst times. He did it in playoff games. So I can sit here and talk about all the great things he did for us, but why bother doing that? Because the fact is the bad things that he was doing are the reasons why he's no longer on the team anymore. And that is, like KELZ was saying, he's a possible cancer in the locker room, giving a shit more about his podcast. There's a lot of stuff that we defended him for, too, as fans. So don't forget all those things you told to people when they were dogging on Micah. You had to bite your tongue and be like, well, he does care about the team, but he also has to have a podcast. There's character things there, obviously. So if I'm okay with the character being new. If we're going to do something new, then let's change the entire culture. And if we wanted to change culture and kept someone like this guy with the character he had, that's counter to what we were doing. So I think this kind of had to get done.
Yeah, and we're gonna hold on, KELZ. We'll talk about that and get to what we got in exchange for Micah. But I was one of those ones towing the line for Micah too. I just swore Jerry would pay Micah after he paid Dak and he paid CD. So I was towing the line too. I was stunned. I shared my reactions early on, but this is about KELZ and my guy Bob, the Cannabis Cowboy. But even longtime reporter John Machota says it right here, sums it up. This is stunning. Jerry Jones doesn't move on from his stars, but we moved on from Micah Parsons. So KELZ, what can you tell us about this DT that we got that apparently we needed in exchange for Micah, along with these 2 draft picks from Green Bay?
So I haven't had a chance yet to pull up all his tapes, but he is a 3-time Pro Bowler. He came into the league in 2016. He is a dynamic nose tackle. He's better than Mozzie Smith. So between him and Perion Winfrey.
Well, what tech is this guy? A 1 tech or whatever? Because I know folks have been. So he's a DT. He's a Pro Bowler. He's a 1 tech. Apparently, he's pretty good coming from Green Bay. Yeah, he's not Micah Parsons good.
And he's healthy. He's healthy.
Yeah. Bob, how are you feeling about possibly plugging the hole with a Pro Bowler DT for the front line of the Dallas Cowboys. You think maybe we might be able to stop the run? Because Jerry said that's why we traded them. We couldn't stop the run.
Yeah, so we know two things. We know, A, this trade wouldn't have happened if they were not going to throw a human in there. If they weren't going to give us a person and a player who's ready to play right now, I don't think this happens. So since that was probably attached to this whole trade, Jerry, of course, is going to say, and the reason why we did this is to stop the run, which, okay, great, whatever. They just happened to have a guy that was aging that didn't fit their youth movement in Green Bay, and they had no problem moving on from him, although he was definitely a great character guy. I think it's smart. I think you have to do that. I think if we're going to give away someone like Micah Parsons and get 2 firsts, we need to get 1 or 2 players. And having the ability to get a nose tackle that is known for stopping the run is a big thing for us. So if we're going to just talk business here and take our damn emotions out of this shit, which is hard for most of us, then this is actually a pretty decent move. I think maybe another second rounder might have been a little bit more even. Maybe for 2 1s and 2 2s might have been better for me, along with Clark. But what can you do in 2025? I don't know. So
I'm on the same wave. I'm on the same wavelength with you. That's the only thing I don't like about the trade, because we should have gotten more out of it.
Yeah.
I would have. Okay, yes.
But Jerry's out here saying 3 to 5 great players, but this is picks in the 28 draft.
No.
Well, this is next year's draft.
We get 2 first-round draft picks for 26 and 27.
Okay.
And we also got Kenny Clark. What I would have done was I would still accept those conditions, but I would have thrown in also next year's second-round draft pick.
Yep.
And their other linebacker who is real good, and that's Edgerton Cooper.
All right,
yeah, there could have been a nicer package. I think. I think it could have been more attractive, considering what you talk about. What everyone thinks about Micah Parsons that isn't a Dallas Cowboy fan. They'll tell you he's the next greatest thing in the world. If that was the case, I feel like the offer could have been better. But again, we need to also remember, maybe they just wanted him gone, dude. Maybe they just wanted him gone.
And throw that John Machota quote back up.
Yeah, he just said Jerry normally doesn't move on from his stars.
Yeah.
That basically tells you that after this last meeting with Shotty, because he already had a meeting.
Yeah, he had that meeting at Sunday with him about laying on that table.
But before that, he had a meeting as soon as he became head coach and basically told him, and I'm just paraphrasing, all the stunts and everything you did when Mike McCarthy and Dan Quinn was in the building is not flying by. Shotty has been in the building for the same 4 years that Micah Parsons has been in the building.
Good point.
So he had a front row view of his demeanor and his character and how he goes about his football business. You're going in and out of meetings because you don't feel like being there. If you're not coming to practice at all, then you're late.
Yeah, and I think a lot of us too, as fans, made a little bit of a mistake in term when we decided to, at least I can say for me, I know a couple of people who thought the same way. I think I said to myself, Dak, we went through this with Dak, it happened. We went through this with CD, it happened.
But did you see all this craziness that's going on?
No, not this much drama. I just thought this had to pop a little bit extra popcorn this year for this season, but it really happened.
I just mean that I probably said to myself, it was going to happen because that's what Jerry does. He waits because the good players are worth it. But I also made a mistake by putting Micah Parsons in the same character slot as a Dak Prescott and a Sedarian Lamb. I mean, those two guys, you just don't hear bad shit about those dudes. So that was my bad right there. Of course they're going to re-sign him. No, not of course. If we're talking about culture change, this change had to happen.
Remember, think about how much we heard leadership, that word leadership thrown around in training camp this year too as well. That's kind of resonating right now, according to what KELZ is saying, being a cancer inside the building. But everybody likes to laugh every now and then, right?
But then also look at it on this part. If and that's what I said, people, for Cowboy fans to really get out their feelings on a lot of things, because when your perception has been on TV for 18 weeks out of a season. When something don't go his way, whether he wins or lose, look at his body language. And then he will leave out of the stadium and go into the locker room when something don't go his way.
That's what I mean. He can mentally be taken out of a game rather easily.
Think about that.
And then the last presser with Shotty, when the question was asked, you could see how his body language shifted because he wasn't thrilled about how Micah Parsons was on last Friday against the Falcons. So this basically tells you Shotty was done. He probably said, you know what, I'm not going to deal with this.
Great segue.
Not doing my coaching regime.
Great segue,
Kels. Deal with this.
Great segue, Kels, because I was listening to what Bubba Dub said, and Bubba Dub's a Cowboy fan, depending on what day it is. But he's always got some great skits. But this little skit he had to share after he heard the news of Micah Parsons, I was like, "Ooh, maybe Bubba's on to something." Let's listen in. Oh, was it not playing? Can y'all hear it?
There's no audio. No.
God damn it. I ain't not worried about no Micah Parsons. Micah Parsons had one motherfucking sack in the playoffs, and y'all crying. Let him go. Time to bring in another fish, boys. Oh, Jerry know what he's doing. I'm going to sit here and ride it out.
Does Jerry know what he's doing? He going to bring us in another fish, the big fish, possibly?
I'm not touching that one.
Yeah, I'm not touching it either. I just thought it'd be neat to share. But, I mean, we all got a point here. He's gone now and a Packer. And we got to see the Packers week 4 on Sunday Night Football. I want to know in the comments down below, anybody bought a ticket to that game? I could only imagine it was about $50, $11. But I'm just here for the Arch Manning conspiracy.
Already had an L for that game anyway, so.
Yeah, I think we all did. I had an L even without Micah Parsons on the roster. But this Cowboys team, they can fuck around and shock us, just like I was telling KELZ and Bob in the green room. Think about if the Cowboys now were to miraculously go in to Lincoln Financial Field, stop Saquon Barkley, and beat the Philadelphia Eagles on banner night without Micah Parsons.
There's a couple things that happens when something like this happens. When you lose, again, I don't know how much. We'll see in the next coming days how many people on our team come out outpouring, "I can't believe you're gone," or how many people don't do that shit and just move on, because we've got to keep going. And hopefully we cruise into this game in Philadelphia underneath the radar, no one expecting anything, and squeak out a win somehow. It would be absolutely amazing. But more than anything, I would love to see us put up at least 37 points on that defense and be able to do something to kind of slow down Saquon Barkley, because I don't think we're going to stop him. No one did. But we got to do something to make ourselves look like we're going to. What happened today, although we don't want to say it, a lot of times when this kind of stuff happens with Jerry, it makes us feel like he's already given up on the season before it started.
There's a lot of fans saying that, like it's taking the gas, taking the wind out of our sails, KELZ.
Depends on who you are.
Is this a good move for us, potentially, now that the cancer is out the building? Is this going to solve stopping the run, or do we have more treatment to go through their first 3 or 4 weeks? Because we got the Eagles week 1, we got the Giants week 2. I can't remember who we got week 3.
No.
We got Green Bay week 4, where Micah's coming back to AT&T Stadium in a Green Packer uniform. Think about that.
No, it's not going to change anything. Like I said, with or without Micah stopping the run, because let's say if Mozzie Smith is in the starting lineup, let's be real. Let's say Mozzie is in for a majority of the game. He can't stop the run.
He certainly hasn't.
That's with or without Micah.
Shit.
Y'all let us know in the comments down below. Go ahead, Bob.
I mean, look, we can choose to harp on all kinds of negative shit. But historically in life, as someone who's been around for a long time, that doesn't help anybody. So if we're gonna keep going and try and find some positivity in this, that's what we need to focus on. And the fact that at least we got somebody that can hopefully help us stop the run. For many years, with or without Micah Parsons, we have been gashed in the playoffs by running backs. I can look, I'm telling you right now, if that shit is cut in half because of this move, I'll forget I even got it.
That's what I'm saying. Think about it, the Cowboys. Just think, work with me here. If we were to go in the league, I know we all got them on L's right now, but if the Cowboys were to go in and stop Saquon Barkley on banner night in Philly without Micah, what are people going to say then about Jerry Jones' decision?
I can tell you right now, I don't give a flying F-U-C-K what people say. And that's just me. I've always been like that. But as far as Jerry giving up on the season without even starting, but like I said before, give this season grace, because even if none of this happened, it's a whole lot of moving parts. This is a true rebuilding year. This is a true rebuilding season. And it's going to take Shotty at least 2 seasons to get this season and next season to see things.
Maybe Vegas knew something we didn't, because they had us not making the playoffs. And now definitely without Micah Parsons, I don't know. It's going to take a miracle on Thursday Night Football next week with this defense. I'm talking about Maris, Leofau, Sam Williams, I'm talking about all of these guys.
And everybody need to stop putting their eggs in the Vegas basket. I mean, just be real. I mean,
well, Vegas kind of do know what they're talking about now, KELZ.
And people need to stop putting their eggs in a Vegas basket.
I think that's just good advice overall.
Well, I don't play the money. I just report it.
But whether you play for money or not, I mean, use your common sense that the good Lord gave you.
You trying to say I ain't got no common sense, KELZ?
Hey, but like they say, common sense ain't common for common folk.
I'm about to kick her off the show. What up, Trey? We see you tapping. He said, mark my words. I told y'all last year, this is, it's funny. It's real convenient. Everybody coming out the woodworks with a, I told you so.
And pull that up right now. I can tell you right now.
Don't we still have a quarterback on contract that has a no trade clause? I don't know.
And here's the thing: we're not taking for no Arch Manning, because let's say if Green Bay goes all the way, they're going to be sitting. We're going to take their first round pick, so they can be sitting in like 28, the 29th slot or whatever. Arch Manning is going nowhere past pick 10, so you could shut that down and chill the F out.
I mean, unless we play so bad.
With my Texas stuff on, Trey. We got to go and trigger, Trey. Go ahead, Bob.
Unless we play so bad that our draft pick is high. I mean, that could be, because we're going to have 2 first rounders. We'll have ours and theirs. And if we don't do well, then that puts our draft pick up pretty high. So that's really all we can hope for.
But the thing is, if we're going in, like I said, I don't see us getting no more than 9 wins. So if we're getting 8 to 9 wins, we're going to be in the same spot that we was this year. We was what, pick 21?
Yeah. And historically, we hovered between like 16th and 20th for almost, it felt like 20 years anyway.
And we're not going to draft high, because even with these 2 extra picks that's coming in 26 and 27, that's a lot of draft capital, because you have to go into the draft with $15 million sitting in your bank,
ready to pay. Sterling got a great question. I throw this to you at KELZ. Says, how do we know this defense isn't ready to play, since we're all talking about L's on banner night?
I think the defense is ready. Honestly, I think Mozzie Smith is going to be like a second string starter. I really think they're going to put Perrion Winfrey in. And like I said, in one of the other groups I'm in, I like the DEs that we have. We have James Houston, we have Shamar James, we have Ezaraku, we have name slipping, Sam Williams.
Yeah, Sam. There's hope on that line. There's hope in the linebackers too. I mean, I think the good thing is that we were always very vanilla in the preseason, so we didn't get to see what's going on. We didn't get to see any of the changes. We better believe that offensive and defensively, this team is going to look a lot different than it did last season. We have to believe that because they showed us nothing. They showed us very basic shit, and they were just giving some young folks a chance, which is all preseason is anyway. But I don't know. I know that we're coming in as an underdog for sure. They're putting us at last place, whether Parsons is on our team or not.
Not that they have us taking.
Hey,
third
the good thing
fourth.
about
They have us taking third or fourth in the division anyway.
Well, the good thing about being at the bottom is there's nowhere to go but up. But we went over the 53-man roster on Tuesday, and KELZ shared with us yesterday the Cowboys practice squad signings. You care to get everybody updated on the practice squad signings because it looked like we brought back some familiar faces, KELZ.
Yeah. So they're going to be in the building. Tomorrow's Friday, right?
Correct.
Yes.
So they'll be back in because they've been on break Tuesday through today. So they'll be back in the building. The practice squad report, well, not the practice squad, the practice reports will start being generated tomorrow. So we'll get to see who's practicing, who's going to be on the IR and all this other stuff. And then it's going to go until Saturday. They do have practice on Saturday. I think they're also going to throw in a Sunday practice. Monday is a holiday.
Yeah, Monday's Labor Day.
Yeah, it's Labor Day. Then there is a practice. The final practice will be on Tuesday, and then they fly out Wednesday.
I'll tell you this: the real positive and negative at the same time right now is that we are so good at drafting that we have to spend so much money just to keep those players around after they're. And you know what's crazy? What Kansas City was doing for a while is they were taking these running backs and they were letting them roll on their rookie contracts and just saying bye-bye. We're not even going to play with you anymore. They were doing that for years and doing some successful stuff with it. There's a numbers game you can play there when it comes to these rookies, but we hit on so many of them. I can definitely include Dak in there. Dak's the starter of the Dallas Cowboys for many years right now, and he was picked late. We're so good at fourth round. That's what I'm saying. We're so good at doing that shit and
he was a compensatory pick.
That's nuts. And I found Eric B pointed that out to me today too. That wasn't Travis Frederick and 27th overall. And I mean, there's players you can get with those late picks, definitely. And like somebody, I think Caitlin just said that maneuverability with those picks is really the greatest thing. If you want someone bad enough and you can take 2 of your first round picks and get somebody you really want, I don't see that happening because I think we're going to use those 2 picks for 2 people. But I don't know. That stuff's so far ahead. I would have been so much angrier right now if we would have just gotten picks out of this whole thing and not picked somebody up. Because if he can come in here and stop the run for us, it's going to make everybody really, really start forgetting Parsons' name for a while if they hadn't already.
But I'll be okay too if it's just only picks because we will take most of everything in those first 2 years.
Yeah.
Because like I said, we have Ezaraku, we have Shamar James Houston, and Sam Williams. So I'm not nervous about what they can do and everything because they've been showing their tail. In preseason as well as the camps. I would be more shaky. Let's say if Parsons was on cornerback, because that's more shaky than anything.
Yeah.
So I would be more shaky if that was if he was a cornerback, because I'm like, oh Lord, who we gonna have?
Yeah, Gabriel brings up a good point. Tapping in right here, says they don't have to leave JJ. Just needs to pay the players without fucking around and waiting. Well, there's a reason why there was no deal done back in March. There was a reason why Jerry Jones and Micah was off in the corner talking. There was a reason why Jerry Jones said he didn't know Micah Parsons' agent's name, even though he did a deal with Pittsburgh to trade for George Pickens, which is the same agent. However, as I digress, but all of the writing was on the wall. I just figured he was going to pay him last minute, just like Dak and CD, because that's been the business model. A lot of it,
if anybody watched the special broadcast, It was said, what was told to me was said on the show. A lot of it had to do with they did not trust him. Like they gave him ample opportunities during the 4 years that he was there, and he did not show any progression.
You bring up a great point, because I was watching the podcast. If you've seen the intro, the Cowboys Nation podcast, let's just hear from the panel of folks at the establishment on what they had to say about the Micah Parsons trade real quick.
But to Mickey's point, if the Cowboys came to the determination with Micah Parsons, similar to what they came to the determination with Mark Cooper, and just said, you know what, we could keep you around, we could pay you, we just don't want you here anymore. And if that's the case, then that explains them pulling the trigger and sending him away, not only away, but to an NFC team, and not only an NFC team, but one that is a contender, and also one that's been a thorn in your ass.
Yeah, they have,
especially in the playoffs.
They haven't lost at AT&T Stadium yet,
ever. Yeah.
So, and now they have Micah Parsons.
And now they have Micah Parsons when they come back here week 4.
Well, there was a point when they never beat Green Bay in Green Bay also.
There was a time there too.
I lived it.
The storylines and the layers to this whole thing, because
you've been around.
This is all reading tea leaves. I'm wondering how much transparency we'll receive now that it's done, now that it's over with, and the saga has come to a close. Because over the next few days, when Brian Schottenheimer speaks, I know Jerry Jones probably is around the corner. He's probably got a radio hit coming up in the next couple of days going into week 1. Either way, there's going to be conversations to the media about this. And how, is it going to be transparent, or is it going to be a smokescreen of, oh, we felt one way about this guy, we felt another way about this guy, we felt comfortable taking the return, and we couldn't say no? I think that's probably the more likely scenario.
Well, think about this. How many times have we heard, or Jerry point out, we have 3 years of control on him?
Yeah.
Right? Mm-hmm. So to me, I don't think it was the money. I think they were hesitant to pay him a long-term deal with a signing bonus that large.
There it is right there. Was he worth the attitude? I think KELZ kind of hit the nail right on the head, pun intended, when it comes to the cancer in the locker room. You can check out that link. It's all the way up in the comments if you want to watch that full episode on the Cowboys Nation podcast. That was a great call out, KELZ. Thanks for including that in on there, because, I mean, we weren't going to give up that much money. I was just, my biggest fear.
Magnolia was the one that said when it happened, the building was happy, and it had nothing to do with the trade that was done. They were happy because they are getting a particular person out that was causing a lot of havoc.
I mean, that's the one thing you have to focus on at this point, no matter what, whether it was a driving force or not. That's something as a team you have to at least start talking about, because if not, that's when you get people start talking about, oh, that's bullshit. Everyone starts complaining. I mean, so it's better that we're focusing on that anyway, because at this point, I mean, it's obvious if there was a reason other than football that we couldn't have kept him, that this thing wouldn't be happening right now. But there's something that we know. There's a couple things that they're not saying publicly. That's a reason for him not being on the team anymore, and that's just the way it is. And if that's the case, I'm cool with that. I'll trade. I would love. We've given way too many people chances that were bad characters and that didn't focus enough on this team. So maybe he's learning his lesson. But I mean, it still doesn't mean that it's that Jerry is the best general manager for our team.
Well, we got this defensive tackle named Kenny Clark, and we were ranked at number 28 last year at stopping the run. So I'm excited. I mean, we're getting a Pro Bowler. You said a one tech, right, KELZ?
Mm-hmm.
A one tech Pro Bowler where we couldn't stop the run. And like you said, you believe Mozzie Smith is going to be a second string starter. It looked like he's coming in starting week 1 next week against Philly, right?
Mm-hmm.
Going to be interesting under this new Eberflus defense. That's all I'm saying. It's going to be a miracle if the Cowboys can go up there without a Micah Parsons and steal one on banner night.
As far as I'm concerned, we've been mishandling that kid since day one, man. That dude was one of the absolute best linebackers in freaking college, and we just had this weird decision to turn him into a defensive end. I think he could have turned to be probably one of the greatest linebackers in the league too, if we would have just kept him at his natural position, because he was doing amazing shit.
But even if that was the case, It's still the character.
Yeah, he still would have been who he was, but I'm just saying it would have just, I don't know. It was weird that we did that anyway. That's something I always had a problem with. But again, he's gone. Let's stop the run, and we're gonna have to do that week 1, big time.
Exactly. And Sterling, let me pin something there. Parsons is the reason why Aaron Dirty,
Aiden Dirty,
and Tank left.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely Tank.
I mean, Tank is looking like gold right about now after all that yap he talked after leaving about that beef with Micah. And we were all taking, Micah's side and everything. But you were talking about this earlier, KELZ, in the green room about what D-Law said. There was no lies told, apparently.
Yep, because everything that D-Law is a lot of things. But one thing he ain't going to do is tell you no lie.
Yeah.
And here's another thing I noticed too.
We got pass rushers with this linebacker. If you know what Matt Eberflus does with linebackers, I think he's a better coordinator than he is a head coach. But now adding a one-tech Pro Bowler defensive tackle on the D line, like there's been a lot of Cowboy fans.
No, that already changed. That changed some shit up already for sure. For sure, that changed stuff up, man. I bet you that freed up some linebacker possibilities for him right now because he's saying, all right, we don't have to commit to clogging up that middle anymore with linebackers. Let's see if let's see what this nose can do.
Right. And let me tell you something else too, what I noticed. Every time the team comes into town, most of the star players and everything, they're normally on the same bus. Micah Parsons and Tank are on totally different buses.
Wow. That's odd.
And when they get on the plane, one goes in the front, the other one goes in the back door of the plane.
They were dealing with some stuff in the locker room. Apparently, a lot of locker room stuff that did not get out.
And also, Malik Hooker also told people about Micah Parsons.
I remember him talking about Micah on his podcast. Yeah. Malik Hooker went on a podcast to talk about Micah Parsons on his podcast. I remember that. Yeah.
If you look at that stat muse I sent you, BG, Kenny Clark looks like he averages, I'm looking at tackles for loss in some of his stats for most of his stats. He's got 51 tackles for loss over his career so far. I'm not really going to worry about his sack numbers, although that's 35, which is not bad for someone who's a nose tackle. Parsons got about 52 or something like that, I think. So that's kind of crazy that his numbers are so high in terms of sacks. But I think regardless, he's going to be able to do something for us that a lot of players just seemingly haven't been able to do for us. And I don't know why. It could have been a system issue. We could have maybe kept the same players we had the last 5 years. And with this new system, they might have thrived. We don't know that. But it's better to get rid of the old people because the old people have old techniques and have new people coming in and kind of doing everything the way the new defensive coordinator wants to do things. So I don't know. I feel like we could still the best thing that we can say right now is that none of us are very certain about what can or cannot happen with this Dallas Cowboys team right now. And that's kind of exciting to me because it's been almost predictable every year, if I'm being honest. We go through these rebuilding years probably every 6 or 7 years, and we don't want to call it that right now, but that's exactly what this is. And it sort of sucks, but we still have a chance of being a damn good team in a rebuilding year, especially this offense.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, yes, I'm giving it 8 or 9 wins and everything, but I think it's going to be a very interesting team because of how shoddy Connor Riley and Clayton Adams is designing this offense and what Eberflus is planning to do with the defensive playbook. So I'm excited to see that. And even when the following year comes, we will have tape, on what it will look like, but that also gives them that stepping stool to say, okay, we did these things good during our first year. What can we do to improve going into season 2026? So, and what is it that we're looking for to draft when it's time to draft? So I'm looking at it from that standpoint. And I'm not being negative or anything. I'm just saying because everything is so new now, and Shoddy basically has 92% control of what's being done. What coach outside of Jimmy Johnson and Bill Parcells that had that much control?
Well, speaking of control, the ESPN depth chart has been updated. Check it out right there. Kenny Clark, left defensive tackle. Now we're looking at Marshawn Nealon on the edge. Kenny Clark, defensive tackle. Right tackle, Osa. Then Dante Fowler. Ooh-wee. And then we still got James Houston, Mozzie Smith.
We're sleeping on Dante Fowler too, guys. I don't know why we're sleeping on Dante Fowler. That dude was a badass addition.
He had double-digit sacks last year, I think, with Dan Quinn, didn't he?
Yeah, that's a bad man.
I mean,
he played very well for DQ.
This depth chart is looking really well. Sam Williams and Ezzy. I mean, Perrion Winfrey, like Jay Toya. Like, there's some real depth. Like, the Cowboys could really potentially stop the run without Micah Parsons, and that's why I'm saying it's sure going to be a scary thing if Cowboys go win in Philadelphia without Mike.
And something is going to change tomorrow because the actual starters will be on the practice report. The practice report that I always put out.
Yeah.
A lot of those
tomorrow.
Yeah, a lot of those players are going to be on it because they have to submit the starter sheets. They have to put those in tomorrow by 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So whatever we see on the practice report when it drops, those are going to be the players that you're going to see. So that's why I said that initial list that was given on Tuesday, that was just an initial dummy list. Here is our 53 players, because a lot of things has changed from the time that list was submitted on Tuesday to what happened Wednesday. And what happened, they moved Kalen Carson and Phil Maffa to the injured reserve.
Musical chairs, but the Cowboys trading for a player, a all-pro defensive tackle, Kenny Clark from the Green Bay Packers, 2 picks, 1 first round next year, and then in 27. Jerry said we're going to get 3, maybe 5 good players down the road, and we're all out on Micah Parsons. So it's going to be interesting to see how Matt Eberflus can shape up this defense going into week 1, because we're 7 days away. I'm just glad this shit is over with. I mean, that's the silver lining for me. I am glad that this Micah Parsons circus is out of town, because, we got enough circuses. Speaking of circus, I think the State Fair is getting ready to open up in a month in Texas. I mean, there's enough going on in Dallas, and I think that circus being gone is enough. Now we don't got really nobody else to worry about paying, or do we, KELZ?
Yeah.
Who's next on the roster to get paid? Who are we going to be watching the movie next on in Frisco when it comes to contracts?
I know right now, Deron Bland and his team is in talks with the front office, and it's going pretty well, as a matter of fact. So what does that got to tell you? One thing I can say is Green Bay, he's your problem now.
Hey man, that's week 4. And they're coming back. That's gonna be PTSD. I wonder if there's gonna be any fans tapping in right here, right now, that went to the game when we got mollywopped in the playoffs. Are you going back to the home game to see Micah come back in the green and the gold, or whatever they call it over there?
It's their problem now to deal with his TO attitude, or whatever you want to call it. And all I know is it does not count on our dead cap books.
Yeah, that makes what's going on in the future now really, really good, because our cap number is going to be huge.
Because he has but here's another thing. We might get some of that little 20-something million back.
Well, Trey's tapping back in.
Find a way to recoup that.
Trey's tapping back in after trying to trigger Trey us earlier. He says, so what happens if we start 0-4? Y'all still going to feel the same way? Look, man, I said there are turbulent times coming in Dallas in the first 4 weeks. We got Philly. Man. We got Philly week 1. I'm saying we got an L now without Micah Parsons. KELZ said L with him.
Yeah.
Bob said L with him.
And Trey, I don't know if you have amnesia or it just went in one ear out the other. I don't know. I personally really don't care. I already had Philly for week 1 for Philly as an L. I'm seesawing with the Giants because they have the hardest schedule.
Yeah, they got the toughest schedule.
They got the toughest schedule, but they got someone by the name of Abdul Carter that ain't nothing to play around with.
Yeah. And they got Malik Neighbors, and they got Cam Scatterboo.
And not only that, but they got their RB1, who is Tracy, who is a beast.
Yeah, let's not forget Pickens is on a 1-year deal too as well, and I don't believe he's gonna get over 100 targets because Jerry got a long list of players that we need to pay. As somebody is tapping in, shout out to Brian Jeffers. He said Bland, Tyler Smith, George Pickens, Aubrey, all need to be re-signed. So the next episode is getting ready to come up. This has been a dirty episode, most definitely with Micah Parsons. But I'm just glad this shit's over with. Let's focus on football. No more contract. Yay, I'm so happy. No more contract talks for now.
Yeah, I want to see Pickens blow up so big this year and put us in such a good position that we have to worry about signing that guy again. That's the ultimate thing. That's the reason why Jerry took the gamble. Because if he doesn't blow up, he can't really ask for CeeDee Lamb money. You know, he's going to definitely ask for that. If he puts up CeeDee Lamb numbers, he's going to ask for CeeDee Lamb money at the end of the season.
But Caitlin, his contract was already has a restructuring clause in it. So they pulled that $20 million when the league year opened.
I think it was March.
In March.
Oh,
that's already out.
It was some news out, and folks are like, "Oh, it must be meaning a deal for Micah's impending." As the Cowboys are juggling like they do roster spots, the salary cap or the contract pay numbers or whatnot.
No, they didn't take no more money out because his contract and Dak Prescott's contract has a restructuring clause.
Well, I didn't know. I mean, Bob hit me up on text today, said, "Hey man, what's up? Are we doing a show? I need to what?" I said, "Man, maybe tomorrow." I didn't feel like it. And then KELZ hit me up. hey, we need to talk about this shit. We can't wait till Wednesday, but we will be back next Wednesday. That's right, the big 3 to kick it off. The pregame show on Wednesday, a day before.
And and we're going to have a special guest.
Yeah, KELZ over there booking special guests for us over there.
We're gonna have
that's what's good.
We're gonna spice it up. Her name is Dr. Jen, and she represents the birds. So, and she knows her stuff. So she knows the mechanics of the Eagles. What is their Achilles heel? You know how the matchup is going to be. So, Dr. Jen knows her stuff. So yeah,
it should be noted too that I looked up Kenny Clark's history versus the Philadelphia Eagles, and he's only played them once, I think, and he didn't get any statistics at all.
Oh well.
Yeah. No, so that could be good or bad. Because look, he's coming into this team talking about I'm going to do what they're asking me to do right now. That he knows damn well that we get gashed because his team gashed us. So they're definitely he knows what the hell we need.
And the one thing about Pickens is there was an interview that he did, and just a cliff note, because I like to listen to what's being said that is not being said. They could give him a contract like right now if they want to. But he basically said that, you know, he's glad that he's in another environment. He likes what's going on. He was like, let me prove to you that I'm worth coming back next year.
Unfortunately, that also means that he's going to prove to everybody else and people who may have more money, which is what the hope is for every free agent player or somebody who's getting ready to hit that market. I mean, that's what I'm afraid of right now. But again, we have to wait. We have to worry about that. Like, if we have to worry about that, that means he did so good for us that's the problem that we're having. In which case, that's not really a problem.
Yeah. And one thing that Philly didn't have for the past couple of years is they didn't have a good wide receiver coach. We got, and I love what I've been seeing between him and Junior Adams.
Yeah, the Junior Adams effect is about to be real, and Bob bring up a great point. I've got George Pickens as a fantasy football trap simply because he's on a one-year deal. I don't see him getting over 100 targets like people are saying he is. CeeDee Lamb got 152 targets last year. CeeDee Lamb is still wide receiver 1. And my whole argument is if we throw the ball and chunk it up to George Pickens this year, we're going to be right back here next year talking about George Pickens like we're talking about Micah Parsons on a contract deal because he's on a one-year deal. But still going to be exciting to see because
I got him on 2 of my leagues, and I also was able to get Genty on 2 of my leagues.
I'm going for Genty first, but Caitlin brings up that great point. It could be the NFC version of Cincinnati with Chase Higgins, Lamb Pickens. Yeah, we could have, the defense could be terrible. We could be playing from behind and,
Yeah, but the Chase Higgins deal, their deal is like it's a tandem deal. Like it's together.
So yeah, they get big money.
Yeah.
So that shit hurts. It hurts to think about.
It's like 2 people on one contract. I don't know if that makes sense to anybody.
David Mulugeta was the agent. Which player was David Mulugeta for the agent in Cincinnati? T. Higgins. So now with that being said, because there's a lot of Cowboy fans, we get ready to wind down here. I want to ask both of y'all this. I mean, everybody was saying Mulugeta was the poison. Now we heard KELZ say that Micah and his attitude, his diva-like attitude and character was the cancer. I mean, now that Micah is gone. Was it really all about the agent? Because folks are like, it's the agent. It's the agent. He's so greedy.
I think 60% was Micah, 40% was the agent because he just added more fuel to the fire to light it up some more. But Mulugeta, he's been fired by a lot of players. And one thing that people have to realize is the agent works for the player, not the player works for the agent. So like with T. Higgins, he wanted to take less money to help with Cincinnati. David did not like that. So it was a whole bunch of back and forth, and it wasn't so much with Higgins, it was so much with the Bengals and Mulugeta. And after everything was worked out, he fired David Mulugeta. There was a soccer player, even though his deal was a little bit over $500 million. Yes, he got his 3% cut off of the deal, but as soon as it was over with, this said soccer player fired him. Come to find out, he also had some basketball players on his roster. They fired him. There were 2 members of the Baltimore Ravens that had him. David Mulugeta got crazy and started talking sideways to Ozzie Smith. And one thing that people know about Ozzie Smith, he was with the Baltimore Colts and all that other stuff. And then when it came to and then he was with the Browns, I believe. But then, Baltimore is home for him. And Ozzie Newsome, he's an old dude. He is just like, he's just like somebody's grandfather. And if someone come upside, try to talk sideways to your grandfather, you'd be ready to go upside that person's head. He did that to Ozzie Newsome.
Oh.
And Ozzie Newsome was the one that told those 2 agents, I don't mind doing business, but I cannot do business with him.
And we've been doing business with y'all. That's been the reactions here tonight from my girl KELZ and my guy Bob the Cannabis Cowboy. It has been a shocking day today in Cowboys world. I hate saying that Cowboys Nation. It's kind of like a Raider thing. But anyway, Cowboys Nation has really been shocking in Cowboys Nation today. And knowing that Micah Parsons is coming back week 4 on Sunday Night Football, oh, man, I know them tickets are astronomically high. I know that's going to break streaming records. We're probably going to break
a minute. Hold on.
Streaming records on Thursday. What you got? You got some breaking news now all of a sudden.
I'm reading what Felony Strutter said. We got back essentially 2 second-round picks. And over the hill knows. By the way, we also cut Flournoy. No, we did not cut Flournoy.
No. Shout out to Miss Felony Strutter. That's a new name right there. But
Felony
we
does not like what just happened. Does not like and what's funny is that when I saw that mentioned, I kind of said the same thing when I realized how late those picks possibly were basically,
and we
because
didn't
of how
get
good Green Bay is.
Picks. We got 2 first-round picks. That's what
no. What she's trying to say is that the first-round picks are going to be so late that you could just basically consider them to be second-round picks.
And I don't know about an over-the-hill nose tackle. Dude's a Pro Bowler, so
yeah.
Right.
And we don't know. Like I said, we don't know how Green Bay's season going to be. They could
tank, baby.
They could basically have not a not so good year, and they could be somewhere in the top 15.
Yeah.
We cut Flournoy for Keegan.
Look, the players are going to say whatever they're going to say, and that could have been BS for all we know. You know what I mean? There's not a lot of players that have done that.
I'm trying to figure out
some of the best ones do.
Where she got this information, because Flournoy is nicely sitting on this roster.
Hey, I don't know. There's a lot of fake news out there. Stop following them fake YouTube AI channels. This is what Micah actually had to say.
Here it is. I see it. Hold on. They waived They waived Ryan Flournoy.
Ooh, maybe Stutter knows something we don't know. What's up with that intel, Scale?
And late. We got because it just came out, and we got guard Trevor Keegan.
She's saying that right there. We cut Flournoy for Keegan.
Flournoy made it, I thought, for special teams, but we did say that roster would change. But going back to what Micah Parsons had to say here, because Eric says, but KELZ, didn't Micah say he'd take less too, like T did? Well, here's what Micah had to say. I never wanted this chapter to end, but not everything was in my control. My heart has always been here in Dallas and still is. I don't believe that because now he's in Green Bay. Anyway, thank you, Cowboys Nation.
And Felony, first of all, nobody is talking crazy with you and stuff. I said I never, got that. So when I pulled up my phone and I saw it, it just came through.
There's some breaking news. That's good. We putting our heads together here.
Yeah, so we can pipe down a little bit.
I'll tell you what really pissed me off throughout this whole thing is when Micah put out that letter saying he did. As soon as I saw the words, I don't want to be in this, or I don't want to be a Dallas Cowboy anymore. That shit stabbed me in the fucking stomach, man. And
he set it up.
I just feel like that, that was the end. That was already the end for me. I was just kind of, hoping up maybe it was a bluff, but I don't know, man. That shit hurts, man. When someone says some shit like that.
Bye, Felony.
That was a bad one.
Anyway, hey, it's a good exchange here. I mean, it had to happen in the last couple of hours, so it's not like anybody got the real drop here. So if you get news, put it in the comments. We like to it. We'll get to the bottom of it, just like we did here today. We found out he got waived. It's all good. Got to make moves. Got to make moves, right? Well, we're gonna make moves, and we're gonna get out of the gym here because that's been their reactions. Y'all heard my reactions earlier. I was stunned. Don't much shit wow me in the NFL, but after today. And the Cowboys, they don't wow me either. But, man, I was wowed today that we traded Micah Parsons away, especially to an NFC team that we got to see week 4, man. I got PTSD all over again, man. So we're going to see how this pans out. But we appreciate y'all joining on Facebook and YouTube. Make sure and turn on your notifications. We'll be live here next Wednesday with the pregame show on Boys versus Birds for the Banner Night opener. We'll see y'all in the gym on the next episode.
The lights, the party's over. They say that all good things must end. Call it a night. The party's over. And tomorrow and next year starts the same old thing again.